Increasingly, New Zealand is becoming a popular host for global sporting events. The America's Cup, the Rugby World Cup, and smaller events such as the World Junior Surfing Champs, the Winter Games, and the International Taekwon-Do World Champs, among others. Yet these events are expensive to run and often rely on government funding. But the government now considers event grants as investments and want a beneficial return through legacy, which means they are looking for long-term benefits that remain after an event has occurred. As Spark Events manager Peter Cox explains, legacy is becoming a government priority.
Well, it's something that's really unfolded and descended through, I guess, the sporting hierarchy over time, starting with Olympic Games and Commonwealth Games that are very expensive and very complex to deliver. So people had to work on the other side of the ledger to cost, which is value. And bit by bit, those big international events became good at delivering legacy, and it's trickled down all the way to smaller events. So countries now look at it. When America's Cup can produce $450 million economic impact for New Zealand, it's not to be sniffed at. And that's really where it's emanated from. But people have a greater understanding too that major events help with things like national pride, community pride, national identity. All of those are in play too. Very hard to measure and quantify. Intuitively, politicians know that they're in play. But it's a whole range of these understandings that have come together, and I guess the trick around leverage and legacy is to move it from the vague into the certain and the assured, so that when you decide to invest, you know what the outcome will be and you've got control all the way through to the end. And that's probably the space we're in right now. I don't think anyone today denies the benefits that are available.
New Zealand International Taekwondo recently worked on their own leverage and legacy plan for the World Championships, which they hosted in Wellington in March 2011. The organising committee were required to submit this plan to government funding agencies, namely New Zealand Major Events and Spark. Taekwondo CEO Mike Thompson agrees that leverage and legacy plans are essential.
If you don't deliver a legacy from an event, I question why you would do it in the first place, because the road can't end when the closing ceremony finishes tomorrow afternoon. The legacy has to be the overriding priority, I think, going forward.
Long before the event started, the organising committee planned their leverage and legacy to promote their sport, globally endorse New Zealand as a destination and for its culture, secure future world championships, and develop strong relationships with VIPs and potential business partners. And this is where it began, by welcoming VIPs through a new streamlined customs process and hosting them as privileged guests at council chambers.
Our liaison officers were able to meet customs at the airport and then be taken through airside, so that when our VIPs came off the plane onto the air bridge, they were immediately greeted by a liaison person who walked them through customs. They brought them through a fantastic mayoral reception the night before the opening of the tournament. So to be taken to council chambers and greeted personally by the Mayor of Wellington was fantastic and very much appreciated.
Chairman of the organising committee, Nick Laurentos, agrees the prestige of a mayoral invitation was important to make an impression. He believed it was useful to leverage potential business partners abroad, but says it was not clear-cut and perhaps needed refinement.
These are true VIPs. These are people that are very successful business people. When Taekwondo people come together to compete, they don't think of coming to a Taekwondo tournament from a trade perspective or for a business perspective. What we did do, however, was to talk to our VIPs and to let them know that hey, you know, New Zealand wants to do business internationally. If you're involved in business, let us know. Let us know what your interests are. Let us know what you want to do. Not a huge amount of success in that area, probably because they didn't quite see the connection between the two. Now that they're here, they can sort of see how easy it is to sort of talk to people and get to know a little bit about that Kiwi culture. We're getting the odd interest. I said, look, I remember something you said about some business. So what we intend to do is to gather that information and pass that information through to Trade and Enterprise and say, look, here's some names. Let us know if we can help in any way.
The plans aim to showcase New Zealand as a destination was done by offering visitors tailor-made New Zealand holiday packages for extended stays. The committee also showcased the country and its culture around the globe by webcasting the opening ceremony as well as the entire tournament.
In the first day alone, we bought 100,000 hours of streaming feed for the tournament, and on the first day 76,000 hours were consumed. I have been told that that's higher than the 5 days of the Swimming World Championships. I mean, it's a phenomenal result for us, and we had to buy more hours to feed the demand from the rest of the world in terms of wanting to connect with the event. So that and the website traffic statistics have shown that there's a huge interest internationally, and we're hoping some of the vision that's been produced over the course of the tournament will be shared around the world.
Locally, the organising committee plan to grow the sport and improve Taekwondo-Do's legacy with New Zealand youth by working on an educational program that promotes the values of Taekwondo in the classroom.
The values that International Taekwondo hold dear is what appealed to the education sector and aligns with the values in the curriculum, and so we'll be structuring an education resource that marries physical activity and sport aspect, the values of honesty, integrity, perseverance, self-control and indomitable spirit, and our contribution to society or as a societal tool is something that we want to marry in our promotions. So that's how we intend to connect the education resource to the classroom, and then there will be a flow on that we believe will be an increase in membership formally of the organisation, but that's the tool that we will use for to introduce people to the art. And then we have other projects through Kiwi Sport and through our kids syllabus and our development programs, which will give them the opportunity to sample the sport as well.
Overall, the pressure of putting on an event combined with the additional workload of promoting legacy is difficult. Mike says there were lessons.
We could probably have identified probably more succinct activity around promotion and general marketing, but having said that, we have achieved many milestones in terms of our coverage on national television and the metropolitan dailies, and we're really happy with the profile that we have created, but we probably had the opportunity to more intimately connect with the people of Wellington, and that was probably something that we could have perhaps tweaked and made 5% or 10% better.
For other organisations with up-and-coming events, Mike suggests they do their research first.
Well, I think that it's important that they connect with Spark. I mean, Spark is a valuable resource in that they know what's going on in the sector, what has gone on in the sector, and they've got examples of good practice that they can share. If anyone was running an event and they were referred by Spark or wanted to make contact with us directly, I'm perfectly happy to share what we've learnt. And I think that operating within the network in New Zealand would be a good place to start.
Pete agrees and suggests early contact with the government is important so there is time to plan.
The government has developed expertise in developing programs that look at what are the other possibilities we can take from this event, what are the other opportunities we can build off it, and what does work and what doesn't work, and how what sort of planning one should do. So I guess for us, we can advise, we can help set up, we can increase the likelihood of success of a Leverage and Legacy program.
For more information, go to Spark or www.majorevents.govt.nz and search Leverage and Legacy.